Most people think avoidants don't want love, that they're cold, detached, and simply not capable of deep connection. But the truth is, they do want love. In fact, they crave it more than you realize. The catch: they don't bond with everyone. They only make lifelong bonding with one very specific type of partner. And if you don't know what that type is, you'll spend years chasing someone who keeps slipping away. Think about it. Maybe you've been with someone who pulls you close one day and pushes you away the next. You try harder, you text more, you prove your loyalty, yet the more effort you put in, the further they seem to drift. It leaves you questioning yourself. Am I not enough? Am I doing something wrong? But here's the shocking truth. Your love is not the problem. Your effort is not the problem. The real issue is that avoidants are wired to resist certain types of energy and to bond for life with another. And once you understand this blueprint, everything changes. You stop wasting energy on endless chasing, endless overthinking, endless heartbreak. Instead, you step into the exact role that unlocks their trust and creates a connection so steady that even an avoidant, yes, even the one who seems impossible to pin down, finally relaxes into lifelong bonding. So in this video, I'm going to break it down for you, who that partner actually is, why avoidants bond with them, and the practical steps you can take to become that energy. Because once you see this clearly, you'll never beg for love again. You'll understand exactly what makes avoidants choose once and for life. You know that feeling, when things start out amazing. At first, they're warm, attentive, even a little vulnerable. They laugh with you, share their stories, maybe even say things that make you think, wow, this is real, this could last. But then almost out of nowhere, the shift begins. Texts get slower, calls feel shorter, plans suddenly become let's see. One day they're leaning in close, the next day they've disappeared behind a wall you can't seem to break through. And what do? You go into overdrive. You ask yourself, did I say too much? Did I push too hard? Should I back off? Or should I try harder? You type a long message, then delete it. You wait hours just staring at your phone, refreshing the chat, watching for those 3 little dots to appear. You wonder if you scared them off, or if maybe you're just not enough. It's exhausting, isn't it? Like a roller coaster where you never know if the next turn is a rush of closeness or another drop into silence. One moment, they're holding your hand, like you're the only person in the world. The next, they're gone, emotionally or physically, and you're left replaying every word, every emoji, every pause. Here's the part that really hurts. Deep down, you know you're giving everything, your heart, your time, your energy. And yet the more you reach for closeness, the more they seem to slip away. It feels personal. It feels like rejection, like you're chasing something that keeps running further every time you try to catch it. And still, you hold on, because when it's good, it feels so good. But when it's cold, you feel invisible. That hot and cold cycle makes you doubt yourself, question your worth, and wonder if maybe the only way to keep them is to lose a little piece of yourself. But here's the truth. This pattern isn't random. It's not because you're unworthy. It's because avoidants don't bond under pressure. They bond under peace. And unless you understand who they actually bond with for life, you'll stay stuck in this painful push and pull. Let's cut straight to it. It's not that your love isn't enough. It's not that you're too emotional, too intense, or too needy. The truth is simpler, and way harder to swallow. An avoidant's nervous system does not bond with pressure. It only bonds with peace. Think about that for a second, because if you've been pouring your heart out, explaining harder, proving your love, waiting for the text, chasing closeness, you're actually speaking the wrong language. What feels like love to you registers as pressure to them, and pressure doesn't pull them closer. It pushes them away. I need you to really hear this. It's not rejection of you. It's rejection of the feeling of being cornered. To someone wired avoidant, your anxious energy, the long texts, the pleading, the endless reassurance seeking, doesn't feel safe. It feels like a demand. Their nervous system isn't built to carry, and so they retreat. Picture it like this. You're trying to hug them tighter because you want to feel secure, but to them it feels like being trapped in a shrinking room. You think closeness equals love. They think closeness equals danger, not because they don't care about you, but because their wiring says distance is safety. And here's the paradox. The harder you try to prove your worth, the less safe they feel. The more effort you pour in, the quicker they slip away. That's why chasing never works. It doesn't matter how much love you bring, if the delivery feels like pressure. So let's break the old belief right here. It's not about being more patient, more forgiving, or more self-sacrificing. That strategy will drain you and scare them. The path to a lifelong bond isn't about intensity, it's about calm. It isn't about proving yourself, it's about standing grounded, because avoidants don't fall for pressure, they fall for peace. And until you shift from chasing connection to creating safety, you'll stay stuck in that cycle of hope and heartbreak. Here's the hard truth, I want you to lock in. You don't win an avoidance heart by running faster, you win it by standing still, with clarity, calm, and self-respect. Here's the painful truth. Most people fail with avoidance, not because they don't love enough, but because they love in a way that an avoidant nervous system simply can't receive. Think about how you've been showing up. You notice the distance, so you chase harder. You sense them pulling back, so you pour in more reassurance, more effort, more proof of your loyalty. You bend, you shrink, you overgive, hoping if you just hold on tighter, they won't slip away. But here's the paradox. Avoidants don't bond under pressure, and the more you try to grip the relationship, the faster it crumbles. It's like trying to hold sand in your hands. The harder you squeeze, the quicker it slips through your fingers. This is why most partners crash and burn in these dynamics. Because when avoidants pull away, the anxious side interprets it as danger. And what do anxious hearts do in danger? They push for closeness. They write the long paragraphs. They check the phone on repeat. They replay every conversation like a detective searching for evidence. But to the avoidant, all of that feels suffocating. They don't see your effort as love. They feel it as pressure. They don't hear your pleas as reassurance. They hear it as chaos. And when their system senses chaos, it doesn't move closer, it shuts down. So you end up stuck in the most exhausting cycle. You chase, they retreat. You explain, they go silent. You prove your worth, they disappear. It feels personal, like rejection, like you're not enough. But here's the reframe. It's not about your worth, it's about your approach. You're bringing more intensity when what they need is steadiness. You're bringing more pressure when what they can only trust is peace. And that's why most people fail with avoidance. They confuse chasing with caring. They confuse pressure with connection. They think pouring in more love will build a bond, when in reality, it only drives the avoidant further away. Here's the mantra to lock in. You don't create lifelong bonding with pressure. You create it with peace, patience, and presence. Let's flip the lens for a moment. Instead of only looking at your pain, let's step inside their world. Because once you understand how avoidants actually experience bonding, the whole picture shifts. Avoidants bond like a cat, not a dog. Think about it. Dogs run toward affection. Call their name, open your arms, and they'll jump straight into your lap. Cats, total opposite. If you chase a cat, it bolts. But if you sit still, calm, unthreatening, eventually the cat will wander over, curl into your space and stay on its own terms. That's exactly how avoidants operate. When you chase, they run. Not because they don't care, but because your energy feels like a net trying to trap them. Their nervous system reads intensity as danger, but when you sit grounded, calm, consistent, they feel safe enough to come closer, by choice, not force. To an avoidant, closeness can feel like stepping into a small airless room. Even if your love is pure, their body reacts with, I can't breathe. So when you send the long paragraphs, cry harder or push for clarity, It's like slamming the door tighter. Their instinct, escape. But here's the part most people miss. Avoidants do want love. They do want connection. They just learned often in childhood that vulnerability wasn't safe. Maybe when they opened up, they were criticized. Maybe when they needed comfort, no one came. Maybe independence was praised while emotional needs were ignored. So their system equated closeness with risk. Fast forward to adulthood, and that wiring still runs deep. They're not rejecting you, they're protecting themselves, and the only environment that lets them lower that guard is one that feels steady, predictable, and free of pressure. So when you stop chasing, when you radiate calm, instead of chaos, you stop being the storm they run from, and you become the safe ground they can actually land on. Here's the mantra: avoidants don't bond through force, they bond through freedom. So, let's answer the question you've been waiting for. Who does an avoidant actually trust enough to bond with for life? It's not the partner who chases. It's not the one who sends endless reassurances or proves their love every single day. Avoidants build lifelong bonds with the partner who radiates calm, respects space, and stands steady no matter the waves. Think of it like this. Avoidants don't need fireworks. They need a steady flame. A fire that doesn't burn too hot, doesn't demand attention every second, but quietly, consistently warms the room. That's the kind of energy their nervous system can finally relax into. So what does this secure energy look like in real life? It looks like consistency without clinginess. You show up when you say you will, but you don't suffocate them if they need space. It looks like boundaries without drama. You know what you need. You express it calmly, and you don't beg or explode when it isn't met. It looks like patience without pressure. You let the connection unfold naturally, instead of forcing closeness on your timeline. Here's the mantra I want you to lock in: steadiness builds trust. Space builds safety, because to an avoidant, safety is everything. And safety doesn't come from intensity. It comes from knowing, I can breathe here. I won't be controlled. I won't be cornered. This is why avoidants don't fall for the loudest love. They fall for the quietest strength. The partner who can say, I care about you, but I don't need to lose myself to prove it. The partner who doesn't chase, doesn't punish, doesn't collapse, but holds steady ground. And here's the best part. When you show up with that kind of calm, secure energy, the avoidant doesn't just stop running. They start leaning in. Not because you pulled them, but because your steadiness made them feel safe enough to stay. So if you've been wondering what it really takes for an avoidant to bond for life, this is it. Not pressure, not proving, not chasing, but calm, boundaries, patience, presence. Here's where it gets really interesting. Avoidants aren't rejecting love. Their nervous system is simply wired to seek safety and autonomy. Closeness doesn't automatically feel safe. It only feels safe when it doesn't threaten their freedom. Think of it like this. Avoidants are like plants. Too much water, and they drown. Too little attention, and they wither. But steady sunlight, consistent warmth, space to breathe, calm energy, lets them grow naturally. You can't force growth by pouring more water. You create the right environment, and then watch it flourish. And that's exactly how you build a bond with an avoidant. By creating the right environment, not by chasing, proving, or over-explaining. So what does that environment actually look like? Let's break it down, step by step. Step 1. Respond short and calm. No long essays, no frantic messages. Keep your communication simple and steady. Example, I'd love to connect later. I'll give you space until then. That's it. Clear, calm, safe. Step 2. Keep your own life active. Work, friends, hobbies, routines. The more grounded and full your life is, the less you rely on them to regulate your emotions. Avoidants sense that independence, and it signals safety instead of pressure. Step 3. Give space but check in with clarity. Respect their need to breathe, but don't disappear or play games. Example, I'll give you space. Let me know when you're ready to talk. Clear, direct, non-demanding. Step 4. Ask what you need, then step back. Boundaries matter. Express what you want calmly, and allow them to respond on their own timeline. Don't plead or manipulate. They will mirror your steadiness if it feels safe. Here's the mantra to lock in. Respect creates safety. Safety creates bond. When you start applying these steps, something shifts. You stop feeding the push-pull cycle. You stop giving your power away. And slowly the avoidant begins leaning in. Not because they were pressured, but because your presence feels like calm sunlight on a plant that's finally ready to bloom. So what happens if you've done everything right? Calm, steady, clear boundaries, and they still pull away? Here's the reframing you need to hear. This is not rejection. This is clarity. Clarity about their capacity, their readiness, and what they are able to give at this moment in life. You don't need to audition for their bond. You don't need to beg, over-explain, or bend yourself into someone else's expectations. You invite connection by showing up as your grounded, steady self. That's the energy that actually attracts avoidance. Not your panic, not your chasing, not your desperate proofs of worth. Here's the empowering truth. Avoidants only bond for life with the partner who chooses calm over chaos, space over control, and self-worth over chasing. Be that energy. Be the calm, steady presence in the storm. Hold your boundaries with grace. Live fully in your own life, and you'll never need to beg for love again. Remember, your peace is more powerful than any text, any explanation, any strategy to make them stay. When you regulate yourself first, you stop handing them the remote control to your emotions. That energy is magnetic. It pulls people in naturally. Now here's what I want you to do right after watching this video. Step 1. Comment the phrase "calm builds bond" below. Not just because it's catchy, but because it's a commitment to yourself, to choose steadiness over chasing. Step 2. Save this video for the next time you feel that urge to overreach, overtext, or overanalyze. Let it be your anchor reminder. Peace creates connection. Step 3. Hit subscribe because the next video is going to show you exactly how to spot real consistency in someone in just 14 days, so you never waste your heart on mixed signals again. Here's the final mantra to lock in. Don't chase. Choose your peace. Choose your standards. Choose your worth. When you do this, the right people will lean in. They will respect you. They will meet you where you are. And if someone doesn't, it's their loss, not your failure. That is real power. That is real love. And it starts with you.